It's 13 minutes past 8 right now. Now, this morning we're talking potholes. It's because a pothole in Pilton near the Glastonbury Festival site has caused so many problems. It's been actually named the Pilton Pothole, which is unbelievable. Now, we heard an hour ago how one woman ended up paying £350 to repair her car after driving down it. We've also been speaking to people in street who told us their pothole experiences.
They're bad all round Somerset when I'm driving around. I drive slow to watch you got half a chance of avoiding them. The damage is done. If you see the puddles, you want to keep out of them, not go through them. I hear there have been a lot of complaints and claims against the council, but whether you get any money from them, I don't know.
I had to change all the suspension on my Ford car. All the shock absorbers had to be changed. That was the street to Bridgewater Road. It's just holes everywhere.
Virtually every road has potholes in it, particularly in the sides, and a lot of our friends have damaged tyres on them and had to have tyres replaced at very short notice. Potholes are a real problem for us drivers, and indeed I'm a cyclist as well, and therefore they're really dangerous for cyclists because you're having to swerve out to miss them, because if you don't miss them you're going to come off the bike completely.
I think we've all had an incident at some point or another, or know somebody that has. So what do you do if you hit a pothole and you need help with the repairs? Now, Scott Dixon, he is a consumer and motoring disputes expert. He's known as the complaints resolver. He's even written a book on potholes. Wow, this is brilliant. Good morning. And joining us right now is Scott Dixon. How are you?
Good morning, Mel. I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, really good. So how often then do potholes come up in your line of work? I mean, you've written a book about it.
Oh, it's a big problem. It's never out of the news and it's never out of my inbox. And how to claim for pothole damage to your car is becoming increasingly difficult now due to councils moving to what's called a risk-based approach on claims. And it's a watered-down version of the previous reporting system. So previously, potholes had a specific dimension and specification for people to point to within the reporting system. But now what you have, it's a watered down version, and two potholes can be treated differently due to different staff judgments. So
really?
They consider a variety of factors, and the crux of it is they're making it more difficult now, because they're citing cutbacks. And they're wanting to save money by making it more difficult for motorists to claim for pothole damage. And it's completely wrong. We should be able to drive on roads, and cyclists should also be able to use roads safely without having to dodge and looking out for potholes and water-filled potholes as well at this time of year.
Now, it's really interesting what you said there about no pothole is the same. But where do people actually stand then when it comes to claiming for repairs?
Well, the first thing you need to do is, you need to find out when was the pothole last reported. And that's the crux of it, because local authorities and claims handlers, they rely on what's called the Section 58 defence under the Highways Act 1980, saying they cannot be held liable for damage if they do not know the pothole existed. And claims handlers use standard paragraphs to reject all claims on that basis, knowing that most motorists will just give up and pay or claim on their insurance. So the first thing you need to do is report it. But also you can look on fixmystreet.com and fillthathole.org.uk to find out how many times has that pothole been reported and when was it last reported, because the local authority cannot say they're not liable if the pothole has already been reported and they've been made aware of it.
Interesting. Now, if government's a cash strap then, are they likely to pay out the claim?
It's very difficult. And I mean, to give you an example, Gloucestershire Council, they rejected all claims based on the Section 58 defence, saying they did not know that the pothole existed. And while the lack of investment is a valid point, what really strikes me is that councils are apparently unaware of the ever-increasing number of potholes. And that's got nothing to do with funding. It's got everything to do with staff potentially not doing their jobs properly and the reporting systems potentially not being fit for purpose. And no matter how good a reporting system is, if no one reports anything, then it's useless. And it's very difficult for motorists to claim for pothole damage, but it's not impossible. You've got to stick to your guns. And what I would say is, first of all, report it using fixmystreet.com or fillthathole.org.uk, or simply contact your local authority take photos, maybe use a bottle of water for depth, because it's not the width of the pothole, it's the depth that matters. And provide a sketch with your claim to pinpoint the pothole, because there's that many potholes, the local authority won't know which one you're referring to. And get an estimate for the cost of repairs and provide a copy receipt, and submit a Freedom of Information request and ask for 12 months worth of inspection reports. How many times has this pothole been reported? When was the last repair made? Was it reported before you hit it? And how many times has it been reported? And, potholes don't form overnight, and local authorities blaming bad weather year in, year out is, well, frankly, pathetic. It's just ridiculous, isn't it?
It really is. And I mean, Scott, the thing is, like you said, the responsibility comes down to us as well, reporting those potholes where we see them, but also paying attention to the road conditions, maybe?
Well, yeah, there is. I mean, we all have a duty of care when we're driving on the roads, but equally, we shouldn't be constantly having to dodge potholes and look for potholes. And many of these are filled with water at night, and they are a danger to life, to cyclists and other road users. And the problem is, I've always said if potholes were repaired properly, there would be more money available to repair more potholes. And the pothole in question that you're referring to, a temporary repair was made, but these temporary repairs don't last 5 minutes, and it's just a waste of money. Constantly throwing loose tarmac into a pothole and not repairing it properly, it's just a waste of money. That's not lack of funding. I think councils need to get their act together and invest properly in repairing potholes to a permanent specification and criteria. And they will have policies to refer to within their manuals. And you can access these policies through a Freedom of Information request to check, is that pothole being repaired properly to the correct specification and criteria? You've got to put the legwork in, but it's worth it. If it's not right, it's worth the fight.
Well, thank you it is obviously such a big issue. We know that it is. Lots of people have talked about it in the past as well. And it's even such a big issue that you've written a book about it. But Scott Dixon, aka the Complaints Resolver, thank you very much for joining us today. Consumer and motoring disputes expert right there. Very, very interesting finding out more about the potholes that causes problems on our roads.